Hello and welcome to the very last course in the e-learning certificate program, EDUC4152. I'm excited for you to be here and I'm looking forward to seeing your creation unfold and see what you come up with as your final course. It's all about you and your creation this time, so that's a really fun place for me to be. So I want to just sort of show you around the course a little bit to make sure that you just draw your attention to a couple of things that are different from the other two courses. So in the beginning, this course information is pretty standard. Please read through each piece, but you won't find any surprises there. In the ongoing activities, the first discussion forum is different. You haven't seen the Great Learning Forum before, and this is a place for you to share learning with other people. So let's say you find a really great website resource that you want to share. Please link it in this discussion forum. Or I've seen other people share rubrics for assessing group work, or a website that helps you to look up to see the copyright information of an image by just uploading the image, then it finds the copyright details. So things like that you think, oh, really cool resource, I'm glad I have this. Please post it here so other people can benefit as well, but also, help yourself to anything that's been shared there so that you also gain the benefits from other people's contributions. So that's the first difference. The other thing that I want to point out to you is when you start to get into the first module, preparing to create e-learning, your introductions are now going to be done in a wiki. Excuse me. So when you do post your introduction, talk about yourself and your field of teaching and what you hope to gain from this course, but also talk about the course that you plan to build. And the reason for that is because this is what a lot of people will use when you're choosing learning partners or choosing who to work with. So post a little bit about your course in there, and you'll see a couple spaces down examples of courses built in EDUC4152 in the past. So that might help you to get some ideas or to see the kinds of things that people have posted. And these are just examples that I've taken from previous wikis and previous courses so that you can sort of see some ideas of what other people have done. You'll also choose a course platform. So my expectation is that you will use Moodle, and I will give each of you a blank Moodle shell to create your course. But you don't have to use Moodle. So some people have preferred to use the course shells that they use at their institution or their workplace. So I've worked with other students who are using Blackboard or Canvas or Desire to Learn even. And that's fine. Just a couple of challenges to think about. Number one, I don't have the technical experience with other LMSs as I do with Moodle. A little bit more with Blackboard and maybe some with Canvas. It's been about 10 years since I've worked with D2L, so this probably changed. But if you want to have a little bit more technical support from me, work with the Moodle shell. The other challenge that we can have when you work with other course platforms is getting me access to the course. So double check with your IT department first to make sure that you'll be able to get me guest access even though I'm outside of the institution. That has been a problem for other people in the past, so just touch base with somebody on that before you decide which platform that you want to work with. And then we're going to get into your course plan. So you're going to think about, you're going to build basically block 0, which is this block, the first thing that you come into when you enter a course, and 2 modules. So you'll start to think about what course you want to build, what's going to be your course objectives. We'll talk about it when we meet together, you and I, in our video conference call. So just kind of have a big picture understanding of what you think you'd like to do online. And then book your conference call with me. And now when we book that call, I would like to ask you at the time that we meet who you'll work with for a learning partner. So a learning partner is an extra pair of eyes to look at your course, and you'll choose your own learning partner. So again, coming back to the wiki, there might be more details in this discussion forum if people don't want to put as much into that wiki, but you're going to reach out to one another through the messaging in Moodle, or through email if you know one another before, or just through posting in this discussion forum here. Hey, I'm looking for a learning partner. I don't know anybody. Is there anyone who would like to work with me? So here's what you need to think about with your learning partners. I'd like you to pick one person. 2 is even better. So if you can find 2 people, fabulous. There are kind of 3 basic people you can choose from. Number 1 is somebody who's already in the course. Number 2, somebody who's previously taken the course. And number 3, somebody who's not in this course and maybe is a colleague at work or in your institution. So there's pros and cons of both. If you choose somebody who's in the course now or has been in the course before to be your learning partner, that's great, especially if they are still currently active in the VCC community, because it'll be really easy to get them access to your course, and they know what you're expected to do. So they know that you're going to build a course module, a couple of modules. They know what kind of feedback you need. They know what your end goal is. Whereas if you choose a colleague, it's harder for them because they look at your course and they go, wow, this is really impressive. Oh my gosh, wow, so cool. And that doesn't really give you the feedback that you need. You need really specific, detailed feedback. So you might have to give a little more support to your colleague about how to give you feedback. But the colleague is likely to know your content area a lot better. So they may be able to find, gaps in logic, or maybe content that needs to be moved around to be a little bit more organized. So pros and cons of both. We can give guest access in Moodle in these course shells, so don't worry about that if you decide to work with a colleague, you can certainly enroll them in your course with guest access. It's a little more limited than what somebody who is from the VCC community would be able to have, but definitely still workable. So I'd like you to think about that. Reach out to somebody, make a plan for a learning partner, or 2 or 3 if you're brave. And that'll be something that I ask you about when we meet together in this video conference. And basically we'll just chat about your course. Think 20 minutes, chit chat. What course do you plan to build? Who are you going to work with, and what LMS will you use? Then you've got 2 kind of content areas. There's a big copyright section that you'll learn about copyright and learn about how to research copyright, because copyright changes all the time. So that'll be that content area. And then accessibility, making sure that your course is accessible to everybody. And then you get into the nitty-gritty of this last course in the program, which is developing your own course. Now, the other thing that's really different about 4152 versus the other 2 courses is you will have a big gap in time, kind of in these last modules, where you're not even logging into Education 4152 for probably 3 weeks, maybe 2, maybe 4, because you're spending all of your time in your own course shell. And that'll be okay. That's exactly what you're expected to do. You're expected to be, over there adding content, and I will be enrolled in your course shell as well. So I can see that you're over there doing that, but it'll feel kind of strange not to log on to 4152. So I don't want you to worry about that. And so we'll probably chat about that as well in our conference call. So I think that's sort of where I'll leave it. This video is getting almost to 9 minutes. So I'm going to stop there and let you proceed through each of the pieces. And when we meet at the end of this module here, we can chat about any concerns you have or questions that are still remaining. Have a fabulous last course. This is really going to be cool for you to see how much you know and don't even realize that you do know. Okay, we'll talk to each of you soon.